engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Pardon me, but you are not engaged to anyone. Should you become engaged to someone, I or your father should as help permit him will inform you of the fact. An engagement should come upon a young girl as a surprise, pleasant or unpleasant as the case may be. It is hardly a matter that she should be allowed to arrange for herself. And now, Mr. Webb, I have some questions to put to you, and while I am making these inquiries, you, Gwendolen, will wait for me below in the carriage.
Mamma.
In the carriage, Gwendolen. Gwendolen!
Yes, Mamma.
Carriage! Take a seat, Mr. Worthing.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I feel bound to tell you that you are not down on my list of eligible young men, though I have the same list as the dear Duchess of Bolton has. We work together, in fact. However, I am quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I am glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle men in London as it is. How old are you?
29.
Very good age to be married at. I am of the opinion that a man who desires to be married should either know everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I'm pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom is gone. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Thankfully, in England, at any rate, education produces no result whatsoever. If it did, it would prove a serious danger to the upper classes and probably lead to acts of violence in Grosvenor Square. What is your income?
Between 7,000 and 8,000 a year.
In land or investments?
In investments, chiefly.
Satisfactory. What were the duties expected of one during one's life, and the duties extracted from one after one's death? Land ceases to be either a profit or a pleasure. It gives one position and prevents one from keeping it up. That's all that can be said about land.
But I have a country house with some land attached to it, of course, about 1,500 acres, but I don't rely on that for my real income. In fact, as far as I can make out, the poachers are the only ones who can really make anything out of it.
A country house? How many bedrooms? Well, that point can be cleared up afterwards. You have a townhouse, I hope. A girl with a simple, unspoiled nature like Gwendolen can hardly be expected to reside in the country.
I own a house in Belgrave Square, but it is let by the year to a Lady Bloxham. Of course, I can get back whenever I like at 6 months' notice.
Lady Bloxham? I don't know her.
Oh, she goes about very little. She is a lady considerably advanced in years.
Ah, nowadays that is no guarantee of respectability of character. What number in Belgrave Square?
149.
Ooh, the unfashionable side. I knew there was something. However, that could be easily altered.
Oh, do you mean the fashion or the side?
Both, if necessary, I presume. What are your politics?
Well, I'm afraid I really have none. I'm a liberal unionist.
Oh, they count as Tories. They come to dine with us, or come in the evening at any rate. Now, to minor matters, are your parents living?
I have lost both my parents.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, may be regarded as misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. What's your father? He was evidently a man of some wealth. Was he born into what the radical papers call the purple of commerce? Or did he rise from the ranks of the aristocracy?
Yeah, I'm afraid I really don't know. The fact is, Lady Bracknell, I said I had lost my parents. It would be nearer the truth to say that my parents had lost me. I don't actually know who I am by birth. I was found.
Found?
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew, an old gentleman of a very kindly and charitable disposition, found me and gave me the name of Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket to Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing is a place in Sussex. It is a seaside resort.
And where did this charitable gentleman who had a first-class ticket to a seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
Handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I was in a handbag. A somewhat large black leather handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
And in what locality did this Mr. James or Mr. Thomas Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station.
The cloakroom at Victoria Station.
Yes. The Brighton line.
The line is immaterial! Mr. Worthing, I must confess that I am somewhat bewildered at what you have just told me. To be born, or rather bred in a handbag, whether it has handles or not, seems to be a display of contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life, and remind one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to? As to the locality in which the handbag was found, a cloakroom in a railway station, might serve to conceal a social indiscretion, has probably been used for that purpose before now, but can hardly be regarded as an assured basis for a recognized position in good society.
May I ask then what you would advise me to do? I need hardly say I would give anything in the world to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to acquire some relations as soon as possible. To make a definite effort to locate, at any rate, one parent of either sex before the season is quite over.
Well, I don't see how I can possibly manage to do that. I can produce the handbag at any moment. It is in my dressing room at home. Really, that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Exactly. What has this to do with me? You can hardly imagine that Lord Bracknell and I would allow our only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom. Form an alliance with a parcel. Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Good morning. Oh, for heaven's sake, don't play that ghastly tune, Algy! Idiotic you are.
Didn't it go off all right, old boy? Well, you don't mean to say Gwendolyn refused you? I know it is a way she has. She is always refusing people. I think it is most ill-natured of her.
You know, Gwendolyn is right as a trivet. As far as she is concerned, we're engaged. Her mother is perfectly unbearable. I've never met such a Gorgon. I don't really know what a Gorgon is like, but I'm quite sure Lady Bracknell is one. At any rate, she's a monster without being a myth, which is rather unfair. I beg your pardon, Algy. I suppose I shouldn't talk of your own aunt in that way before you.
My dear fellow, I love hearing my relations abused. It is the only thing that makes me put up with having them at all. Relations are simply a tedious pack of people who haven't the remotest knowledge of how to live, and the smallest instinct about when to die.
That is nonsense.
It isn't.
Well, I don't want to argue about it. You always want to argue about things.
That is exactly what things were originally made for.
Oh my word, if I thought that, I'd shoot myself. You don't think there is any chance of Gwendolyn becoming like her mother in about 150 years, do you, Algy?
All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does. That's his.
Is that clever?
It's perfectly phrased. And quite as true as any observation in civilized life should be.
Oh, I'm sick to death of cleverness. Everybody's clever nowadays. The thing has become a total public nuisance. You can't go anywhere without meeting clever people. Wish to goodness we had a few fools left.
We have.
I should extremely like to meet them. What do they talk about?
The fool. Oh, about the clever people, of course.
Fools.
By the way, have you told Gwendolyn yet about your being Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
My dear fellow, the truth isn't quite the sort of thing one tells to a sweet, simple, refined girl like Gwendolyn. Oh, what extraordinary ideas you have about the way to behave to a woman.
The only way to behave to a woman is to make love to her if she is pretty, and to someone else if she is plain.
That is nonsense.
What about your brother? What about the profligate Earnest?
Oh, I shall have got rid of him by the end of the week. I'll say he died in Paris. Of apoplexy. Lots of people die quite suddenly of apoplexy these days, don't they?
Yes, but it's hereditary, my dear fellow. It's the sort of thing that runs in families. You'd much better say a severe chill.
Well, you're sure a severe chill isn't hereditary or anything of that kind?
Of course it isn't.
Very well then. My poor brother Ernest is carried off suddenly in Paris by a severe chill. That gets rid of him.
But I thought you said that Miss Cardew was a little too much interested in your poor brother Ernest. Won't she feel his loss a good deal?
Oh, that's all right. Cecily's not a silly, romantic girl, I'm glad to say. She has a capital appetite, goes long walks, and pays no attention at all to her lessons.
I would rather like to see Cecily.
I'll take very good care to see that you never do. She's excessively pretty, and she's only just 18.
Have you told Gwendolyn yet that you have an excessively pretty ward who is only just 18?
No, one doesn't blurt these things out to people. Cecily and Gwendolyn are quite certain to be extremely great friends. I'll bet you anything you like. Half an hour after they meet, they will be calling each other sister.
Women only do that after they have called each other a great number of other things first. Now, my dear fellow, if we want to get a good table at Willis's, we really must go and dress. Do you know it is nearly 7?
No, it always is nearly 7.
Well, I'm hungry.
I never knew you when you weren't.
What shall we do after dinner? Go to a theatre?
Oh no, I loathe listening.
Well, let us go to the club.
Oh no, I hate talking.
Well, we might trot round to the Empire at 10.
Oh no, I can't bear looking at things. It is so silly.
Well, what shall we do?
Nothing!
It's very hard work doing nothing. However, I don't mind hard work where there is no definite object of any kind.
Miss Fairfax.
Upon my word!
Algy, kindly turn your back. I have something very particular to say to Mr. Worthing.
Really, Gwendolyn, I don't think I can allow this at all.
Algy, you always adopt a strictly immoral attitude toward life. You're not quite old enough to do that. Ernest, we may never be married. From the expression of Mamma's face, I fear we never shall. Few parents nowadays pay any regard to what their children say to them. The old-fashioned respect for the young is fast dying out. Whatever influence I ever had over Mamma, I lost at the age of 3. But although she may prevent us from becoming man and wife, and I may marry someone else, and marry often, nothing she could ever do could alter my eternal devotion to you.
Dear Gwendolyn.
The story of your romantic origin, as related to me by Mamma with unpleasing comments, has naturally stirred the deeper fibres of my nature. Your Christian name has an irresistible fascination. The simplicity of your character makes you exquisitely incomprehensible to me. That town address at the Albany I have. What is your address in the country?
The Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire.
There is a good postal service, I suppose. It may be necessary to do something desperate. That, of course, will require serious consideration. I will communicate with you daily.
I own one.
How long do you remain in town?
Till Monday?
Good. Algy, you may turn round now.
Thanks, I've turned round already.
You may also ring the bell.
You will let me see you to a carriage, won't you, darling?
Certainly.
I will see Miss Fairfax out.
Yes, sir.
A glass of sherry, Lane.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow, Lane, I'm going bunburying.
Yes, sir.
I shall probably not be back until Monday afternoon. You can put up all of my dress clothes, my smoking jacket, and all of the Bunbury suits.
Yes, sir.
I hope tomorrow will be a fine day, Lane.
It never is, sir.
Lane, you're the perfect pessimist.
I do my best to give satisfaction, sir.
There's a sensible, intellectual girl. The only girl I ever saw in my life.